why I am recording this video for all of you so that you can watch the solution here itself as a part of this video. And also you will get an idea what type of questions, what would be the length of the questions which are going to be appeared in front of you during the examination. Okay. Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. So I am recording this session. The idea behind this particular session is to give you an overview with an AWS official practice test. Again, so my goal is to build a confidence in all of you. So keeping that in mind, what I have done, I have just purchased one subscription in my AWS Skill Builder account, and then I am attempting one official AWS practice test in front of you. Okay, so you can watch this video. You can refer that practice test solution, which I am doing here in front of you as a part of this video. Okay, and you will gain a lot of confidence after seeing that particular practice test. Okay, so let me start. So I'm showing my screen now, and I will take you all to the Skill Builder. Okay. This is my Skill Builder account, and like what I will do, I will just showcase you from starting only. I will go here, I will just open these three horizontal lines. I'll go to course catalog, and here I am going to apply some filters. Let me do that. The first filter which I will apply, that will be for the language. I'm selecting English as a language. If I scroll down further in the training category, I'm just selecting exam preparation. And then I will majorly search for Cloud Practitioner. Okay, so now as I told you, I am going to attempt one official practice test in front of you. Okay, so let's take the official practice test. We can take this one, AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Official Practice Exam. I have already enrolled for it, so it's a subscription base, so you don't have to purchase any subscription. Like why I am recording this video for all of you so that you can watch the solution here itself as a part of this video, and also you will get an idea what type of questions, what would be the length of the questions which are going to be appeared in front of you during the examination. Okay. So I'm going here, and I will start with this assessment. I can say start here. And it will be redirecting me to a page from where I can start my assessment. Okay, let's wait for it to be redirected. Okay, so here is the examination. I've already completed this examination. Okay, but I will do it one more time. I will reset a product from here because I want to do it from scratch. Okay, and just to give an idea, I will switch on the review answer option so that I can show you the review of each question I am going to attempt in front of you. Okay, so total there are 65 questions. Okay, and these questions again have been divided into different domains as per the exam coverage. Okay, so number of questions would be same, pattern would be same, and this is an AWS official practice test. What is the purpose of attempting this particular exam in front of you? The purpose of attempting this exam in front of you, again, I could see that, I could sense like there are a lot of things which is troubling you. Okay, and there would be a lot of confusions in your mind regarding the exam pattern, regarding the exam questions. Okay, so this particular attempt will going to give you a relief from all those confusion. So I'm clicking on start button here. You can read the overview and instructions. Okay, the similar kind of instructions you are going to get in a real examination before they're going to start the examination. Okay, let's say firstly it's talking about AWS certification official practice exam provider, practice exam experience that matches the question style and technical rigor of the certification exam. So from here also you can get an idea. I am specifically highlighting this statement. Okay, the length of the time, whether you see the correct answers and feedback. So for that, I have already switched on the review option. As it is a practice test, there would not be any such option available in the real-time examination. It is a practice one. That's why they have given the option for a review. So I'm starting the test now. And this is the first question which appears in front of me. Which service identifies security group that allow unrestricted access to the user's AWS resources? Okay. Now, the way I have taught you in my sessions during my class, I told you to focus on important keyword always, and that would be my style of attempting an examination. So it's talking about a service which identifies security group that allow unrestricted access. If you will recall our discussion on trusted advisor, in trusted advisor, we had seen that there were 5 best practices. On the basis of that, we can get a recommendation. So I feel that trusted advisor is the most relevant answer as per the question scenario. So let me just select it and let's say confirm. So this is correct one. You can see correct answer is. You can also read about it. Trusted advisor checks security group for rules that allow unrestricted access to a resource. Unrestricted access increases the opportunities for the malicious activities such as hacking, denial of service attacks, or loss of data. Just to give an idea, I'm scrolling down to show you what are the incorrect options. So config was not correct, CloudWatch was not correct, and CloudTrail, again, it was not a correct option. The correct option is this trusted advisor. Okay, let's move to the next one. Which credentials component are required to gain programmatic access to an AWS account? It's a multi-choice, multi-response questions. Okay, and again, I will put a stress on one statement. Okay, there would be no partial marking for any partial correct answers. Okay, so you are not going to get any marking for a partial correct answers. If it's getting or it's asking to select, then you have to select 2 correct options, then only you're going to get the marks. Okay, so we know that there are multiple ways to interact with AWS services, and whenever it comes to programmatic, it is CLI and SDK and API also. Okay, so we know that access key and secret access key are the correct options. Okay, you can also explore the other options: primary key, user ID, and secondary key. All these options are misleading. Okay, there is no such concept of a primary key which we had seen. When we talk about a user ID corresponds to the identifier for a user. Okay, a secondary key, again, like we haven't heard about secondary key. So for access key and secret key would be the most appropriate answer as per the question. The keyword which I am focusing on, that is programmatic access, and it's asking for credentials. These are the 2 keywords I have focused on. You can see these 2 are the correct answers. You can see I have attempted the correct answer, and again you can review it. So what are the correct options in front of you? You have option A and option C. These are correct. Let me move back. Which AWS service installs, operate, and scale infrastructure for container cluster management? Okay, so here it's talking about a containerization. So make it as a practice to remove the incorrect answer so that you will have a less number of options left in front of you. Elastic cache, that is something related to the in-memory data store. It is used for the caching purpose to offload the burden on databases. Okay, or for session management. So remove elastic cache, nothing related to container. When we talk about EBS, EBS is something that is related to the storage volume. Here it is asking about a cluster management, okay, for the containers, okay. There are 2 options left in front of you, ECR and ECS. ECR, again, would not be the correct choice because when we talk about ECR, it is a registry, and this registry is used to store the container images. So my requirement is to manage the cluster management, or to basically figure it out what service can install, operate, and scale infrastructure. So what is left in front of you? ECS is left in front of you. You can select it and say confirm. Again, this is a correct answer. Okay, so I will scroll down to just show you what were the options and which one is the correct one. ECR is not correct. Elastic cache is not correct. You can see it's an in-memory data store. ECS is correct. You can read about ECS. It is a highly scalable, fast container management service that makes it easy to run, stop, and manage containers on a cluster. Okay. And again, EBS is not correct. I can just show you. It provides block level storage for EC2 instance. It does not manage containers. Let's move to the next question. How can a company isolate the cost of production and non-production workload on AWS? So now it's talking about basically isolating the cost. Okay. Let's try to read the questions. Whenever it is talking about isolation, okay, isolation and with respect to cost, that can be in a very simplest way. You can create different account for your production and non-production expenses, and there you can monitor the cost associated with your production and non-production account. Okay, if you will see this IAM role for production and non-production workload, nothing to do with the cost management, okay, because we know that IAM role is an identity which provides you a short-term credentials, okay, temporary credentials, okay, and it is used for authentication purpose. Use EC2 for non-production workload and other services for production workload. Again, this is completely misleading because it's nowhere asking about a server or virtual machines. It's simply asking about a cost management. Use CloudWatch to monitor the use of these services. Again, CloudWatch is a monitoring service. CloudWatch is not giving you the cost. So what is left in front of you? Use different account for production and non-production expenses. And again, just to make it understandable, you can see that cost and expenses, these are two relatable keywords. Okay. In all other options, nowhere it has talked about cost. It has talked about expenses. So let me choose this and let's say confirm. So I'm correct. B is the correct answer. Again, I can scroll slowly in front of you. What were the options which were mentioned here and what were the incorrect options? So A is incorrect. We're talking about IAM role. B is correct for different account. Isolation, it's asking. So isolation again means different account. Okay. EC2 again is not a correct answer and CloudWatch is not a correct answer. Say continue. What is the minimum AWS support plan that provides technical support through phone calls? Okay. So remember, like whenever you want to study about AWS support plans, I can again open a documentation in front of you. Okay. So there are few things which you have to keep in your mind if I will open this blog. The first comparison you all can see from here means if I will go to the priority. So can you see like 24/7 phone, web and chat access to the cloud support engineer is getting started from the business support plan, not available in developer. If it is not available in developer, it will not be there in the basic plan. And now if you will go back, it's talking about minimum. Minimum means it is concerned about the cost. So developer and basic straightforward remove. What is left in front of you? Business and enterprise. Out of these two, business is cost effective. Business will charge you minimum cost as compared to enterprise. So select business and say confirm. Again, this is a correct answer. Okay. A company is migrating to the cloud from on-premises data center and wants hands-on help with the project. How can the company get this support? Okay. You have already attempted this type of question. So it is asking about like help a company needs when it's planning a migration. Ask for a quote from the marketplace team to perform a migration into the company's AWS account. It's not looking for any quotation. Okay. It's looking for assistance. Okay. Contact training and open a case for assistance. Okay. There is like you can obviously explore the AWS documentation, but contacting AWS training and open a case for assistance will not be there because these are the self-read document which you can go through. Okay. Use AWS professional services and select a partner from the partner network APN to assist the migration. Okay. So APN partners are basically the authorized partners, okay, which can also provide consultancies, which can also act as a consultant in order to help you out to design your solutions. Okay. So I'm selecting C and D. Again, for me, E is not a correct option because using Connect to create new request for proposal for expert assistance in migrating to the cloud. Amazon Connect, when we talk about it, is a service which is basically belongs to the customer center. If you have to design customer center in your AWS cloud, you can go for the Amazon Connect. Say confirm, and C and D are the correct options I have chosen. So I will again show you one more time. C is use AWS professional service and D is select a partner from the partner network to assist with the migration. Which of the following can an AWS customer use to launch a new Amazon relational database cluster? Again, you have to select two. Okay, it's talking about launching. Okay, so when it comes to launching, let's remove the incorrect one. EC2 auto scaling. Okay, EC2 auto scaling as a name is suggesting it is something related to the scaling automatically of your EC2 instances. And it's asking about RDS. Remove it. Simple storage service. It has nothing to do with a launch of the RDS. Okay. AWS Management Console, CloudFormation, and AWS Concierge. These are left. Okay. If I will show you what is AWS Concierge. Okay. You can see this. Your Amazon Web Services Concierge is a senior customer service agent who is assigned to your account when you subscribe to enterprise or qualified reseller support plan. Okay, so it is an agent. Okay, it has nothing to do with the provisioning of resources. If you still want to know more, you can see what does the AWS Concierge support team provide. So you can read here. AWS Enterprise Support provide you with a concierge-like service where the main focus is helping you achieve your outcome and find success in the cloud. With enterprise support, you get 24/7 technical support from high-quality engineers, tools, and technology to automatically manage health of your environment. So it's talking about assistance and managing health. My question is related to launching the RDS. So what is left in front of you? Cloud formation and management console. And we know that cloud formation is an infrastructure as a code service. Using cloud formation, you can provision your infrastructure. Okay. So that is the one thing. And yes, management console is a web-based interface. Using management console, again, you can provision the resources. You can create the resources. You have done your labs, like so many labs you have done using management console. Let me select these two. And you can see B and E are the correct options. So I have chosen the correct options. Okay. B, cloud formation. E, management console. So you all can see by staying with you all for the 4 weeks how intelligent I have become. I am attempting all the questions correctly till now. Okay, let's go ahead to another question. Each department within a company has its own independent account and its own payment method. The company need to centralize departmental governance and consolidate payment. Okay, whenever it comes to multiple AWS account, whenever it comes to consolidating payment, you should think about organization, but don't forget to read the options first. Okay. Let's start with option C. Use System Manager Ops Center. System Manager has nothing to do with the centralizing departmental governance and consolidate payment for multiple accounts. System Manager is a service which is used for the automatic management of the infrastructure task. Okay, you can read about it. I can just open that in front of you at a very high level. Let me do that. Okay. It's an operation hub for your application and resources and a secure end-to-end management solution for hybrid and multi-cloud. Okay. So this would not be the correct one. Use AWS Cloud Map on each departmental account. Let's see what is this Cloud Map. I will search here for AWS Cloud Map. You can again see it is a resource discovery service. Okay. With Cloud Map, you can define custom names for your application resource and it maintains the updated location of these dynamically changing resources. Okay. I am nowhere concerned about the renaming. I'm nowhere concerned about maintaining the location. So this would not be the correct option. C is not a correct option. Use the cost and uses report page of the billing and management console. So it's talking about consolidating payment. And we know that consolidating payment is something that is a feature of AWS organization. So from the question itself, you could directly guess, but why I was reading the options in front of you? I was reading the options in front of you. It's better to read the options. Okay. There could be two options with the AWS organization. And at that point of time, there could be some minute differences. But here I have only one option. Get an organization with in AWS organizations with all the features enabled within one account, invite all account to join the organization. Let me select it and I can see B is the correct answer. Okay. So this is the correct answer. Create an organization in AWS organizations with all the features enabled within one account, invite all account to join the organization. Okay. A is not correct. Cloud Map. C is not correct. System Manager. D is not correct. What are the advantages of deploying an application with EC2 instances in multiple availability zones? It's a very simple question. Availability zone means which gives you high availability. These are the fault isolation data center. Okay. Preventing a single point of failure. This is very correct. Like when you are deploying something into multiple availability zone, it means you are reducing the downtime. You are reducing the minimum interruption. And you are also preventing your application to be failed, like if one availability zone would be down. So preventing a single point of failure. Reducing the operational cost of the application, nothing to do with operational cost. Allow the application to serve cross-region users with low latency. Availability zone belongs to a region. So region is a collection of 3 or more availability zone. And it's talking about cross-region. So it will not be applicable here. Increase the availability of the application. From the name only, you can say multiple availability means high availability. High availability means increase the availability. And increasing the load of the application, it's not true. Okay, because multiple availability is not increasing the load. It is providing you high availability. Confirm and you're correct. I can again scroll down the options. Preventing a single point of failure is correct. Reducing operational cost of the application, not correct. Allowing the application to serve cross-region users with low latency, not correct. Increasing the availability of the application, correct. And increase the load of the application is not correct. Okay, let's move to the next question. Which service helps to automate common administrative tasks and perform one-time configuration changes at scale on EC2 instances? Okay, CloudTrail. Who has done what? It has nothing to do with automation of a common administrative task. Cloud formation, it is used for provisioning your infrastructure. Config is used to track the configuration changes. What is left? System manager is left. And I told you system manager is one of the service which is used to manage the infrastructure task automatically. Okay, let's choose this. And you can see it is a correct one. You can use system manager to remotely and securely manage the configuration of your managed instances. Okay. If I scroll down, CloudTrail is not correct. Cloud formation is not correct. Config is not correct. Okay. So you can see, like I'm simply focusing on the question keyword and then I'm choosing a correct answer. So one thing, you all are already aware about these things. You all are already doing these things. Okay. So don't get confused. Don't get underestimate when someone is saying that you are not attempting a scenario based questions. You are already attempting. What is the meaning of scenario based? Scenario based means based on the requirement in the question, you are choosing the right answer. And that's what we are doing here. Okay. Which element defines an AWS availability zone? One or more physical data center with redundant power and network, a geographical location that is completely isolated from other AWS location. This is a region. One or more edge location based around the world. Not true. A data center location with a single source of power and networking. So see, first of all, availability zone is a collection of data centers. So our data center will not be true here. Again, availability zone are the fault isolation data center. I mean, they would have the redundant power and network. So what is left? One or more physical data center, again from the definition of collection of data center. How can consolidated billing within an AWS organization help lower overall monthly expenses? Okay. But we say consolidated billing. Consolidated billing means we are aggregating the usage from different accounts. Okay. And that usage is helping us out to get the discount. Okay. So the simple answer is by pooling usage across multiple accounts to achieve a pricing tier discount. Okay. Leveraging service control policy for centralized service management, not true. It is used for the management of the access. It is used for what kind of work you can do. Okay. Automating the creation of new account through APIs, no. By providing a consolidated view of monthly billing across multiple accounts. It's talking about view. My question is asking about lower the monthly expense. So for me, the correct option, which I feel, that is B. And this is correct. So B is a correct option. What is an example of high availability in the AWS cloud? You can read it. Consulting technical support at any time of the day, not true. Ensuring that an application remains accessible even if a resource fails. Let's read another question. Making an AWS service available for use by payment on demand, not true. Deploying in any part of the world by using AWS solution, not true. Okay, because that's not matching my question statement. That's not giving me the correct description about my question statement. What is left? Application remains accessible. I told you, when you talk about availability, high availability, there could be minimum interruption. Okay. And fault tolerance means zero interruption. So all fault tolerant application can be highly available or can't be highly available. Means it's not always true that there would be zero downtime in the highly available. So that's why I use the word minimum interruption. But for me, this is the most appropriate option which suits as per my question need. So I'm choosing this. Okay. Which security mechanism can be used to restrict or permit access to resources within a VPC? Okay. So see, whenever it is VPC, in a VPC, if it is asking about security mechanism, if it is asking about firewall, network ACL and security group, these are two firewalls. Network ACL act as a subnet level, security group act as an instance level. So let's choose network ACL and security group. Okay. Other options are not true. Elastic Network Interface provides virtual card. Route table decides the routes. Okay. And if you will scroll down, what's the next option? VPC flow log. So this VPC flow log is capturing the information of traffic flowing in a VPC. Okay. So for me, network ACL and security group are two most appropriate answers. A and D. Fault tolerance refer to ability of an application to accommodate growth without changing design. You know that fault tolerance means you can tolerate fault, zero downtime, or you have some built-in redundancy so that if one of the component would be failed, you already have another component running in parallel. Okay. How well and how quickly an application environment can have lost data restored, how secure an application is, the built-in redundancy of an application component. So this one is looking to me the most appropriate answer as per the question requirement. And you can also see the question length. Okay. And again, I will focus, this is AWS certified official practice exam. The idea again to take this exam in front of you is to show you that it's a foundational level certification. So your focus should be on service understanding. Your focus should not be on the length of the questions. Okay. There would not be the questions which will be too much lengthy. Okay. If there are questions, let's say 5 lines, 6 lines, okay, those will be the associate or professional level questions. Okay. There would be simple questions you can see here. Okay, what are the benefits of using cloud for the companies with customers in many countries around the world? Okay. Companies can deploy application in multiple regions to reduce latency. Amazon Translate automatically translate the third-party website interfaces into multiple languages. It has nothing to do with the customers in many countries around the world. CloudFront has multiple edge location around the world to reduce latency. We'll see that. Let's read another option first. Comprehend allow user to build application that can respond to user requests in many languages. Again, it's talking about a specific AWS service, but in generic, it's not talking about the benefit to the customers in many countries for AWS Cloud. Elastic load balancing can distribute application web traffic to multiple regions around the world, which reduces latency. Again, here it is specifically talking about a service. But now if you will see, companies can deploy applications in multiple regions to reduce latency. That is true. If you have multiple customers, if you have many customers around the world, you can deploy your applications in different geographical locations. And also we know CloudFront as a content delivery network service. Okay. So this is used in order to deliver the static and dynamic content globally in order to reduce the latency. So I'll choose this and let's see. These are the correct answers. Okay. You can always explore about the translate and comprehend at a high level. You can see it is it's a neural machine translation service that delivers fast, high quality, affordable, and customizable language translation. Okay. And if you want to see about comprehend, you can see it's a NLP, natural language processing service, that uses machine learning to uncover information in the unstructured data. Okay. So you are getting the valuable insight from text within document. Okay. You can read here. Let me move back. Let me go to my next question. Which tool or feature compares the prices of different services, create rough estimate of the total monthly cost, and exports the estimate to a CSV file? Okay, it's talking about generating. Okay, major it's talking about creating the estimate, generating the estimate. And the straightforward answer would be pricing calculator, because using pricing calculator, you can generate the estimate. Okay, you can also see how pricing calculator look like, just for your knowledge. If I'll open this, if I'll go here, you can read, configure a cost estimate that fits your unique business or personal need with AWS products and services. Okay. Estimate the cost of AWS product and services. Enter the details of your users to see the service cost. So let's say if I have to create the estimate for EC2 instance, okay, you can specifically search for a service. Let's say I want to search for EC2. And here I can say configure. And it will ask me to provide the details on this page. And finally, I can get the cost estimation. So this is how it looks like. And if all of you or some of you must have attempted the Cloud Quest course on the skill builder, you had one lab on a pricing calculator too. Okay. Great. Which of the following is a shared control between the customer and AWS? So now it's talking about the shared control. Okay. There is only one option we have to choose. So straightforward awareness and training we can choose, because if you will read another option, environmental control of physical data center. When it comes to physical data center, it's a responsibility of AWS, not shared. Configuration of an EC2 instances. When it comes to configuration of EC2, as EC2 is an infrastructure as a service, so configuration will be the responsibility of AWS. Providing a key for the client-side encryption. So again, that is a responsibility of AWS. Encryption is a cryptography mechanism which is used for a security purpose. So what is left? Awareness and training. How can a company increase security of an AWS console access? Security. So for security, one thing is multi-factor authentication. Configure a strong password policy. Other options are not correct. Configure certificate manager. So this is used to manage SSL TLS certificate. Use Cognito to manage access. So Amazon Cognito is a service which is used for the user management of web and mobile users. Enable organization. Again, AWS organization is a service which is used to manage multi AWS account architecture. So these two are the most appropriate choice. Enable multi-factor authentication and configure a strong password policy. You can see both are correct. What does marketplace allows user to do? You have to select two options. So marketplace is a place, okay, where third-party vendors or where vendors can upload their solution which are ready to sell, okay, which are ready to use. So by third-party software, that is true. Sell unused EC2 spot instances, that's not a part of a marketplace, because this EC2 spot instances will be managed by AWS. Sell solutions to other users. Just now I told you. Purchase AWS security and compliance document. No, if you want to just get the access to the security and compliance document, you can make use of a service called AWS Artifact. Okay. Order Snowball. So Snowball, you know, that is a service which is majorly used for transporting a large amount of data from on-premises to AWS and vice versa. So these are correct. Okay. Sell solutions to other AWS user and buy third-party software that runs on AWS. Okay. Okay. Please allow me a minute. Okay, let's discuss our answers, more answers. So I'm going back here and let me move to the next question. It is saying that what is the value proposition of AWS Cloud? So AWS is responsible for security in the AWS Cloud. It's not true, okay? Because we know that customer is responsible for security in the cloud and AWS is responsible for security of the cloud. No long-term contract is required. That is looking correct. But let's just talk about the other keywords also, other options also. Option C is saying ability to provision new server in days. So there is no such timeline which cloud provides. AWS manage users applications in the AWS cloud. Okay, so AWS manages user application in the AWS cloud. No application would be managed by the customers only. Okay. And when we talk about timeline for provisioning the resources for provisioning the application, that totally depends upon the resource of provisioning. So usually it takes minutes. Okay. So what is the best possible choice? The best possible choice is no long-term contract is required. And this is true. Okay. So AWS is responsible for security in the cloud is not correct. No long-term contract is required is correct. Ability to provision new server in days, again, it's not correct. And AWS manages user applications in AWS cloud, again, it's not correct. Okay. A company has an application that has dependencies between its underlying component. When one component fails, the entire application fails. Which cloud design principle should be applied to address the current weakness of the application? Okay. So now it's talking about application having dependencies between its underlying component, means something is related to the tight coupling. It's somewhere talking about a tight coupling of the application. Okay. And tight coupling means like components are so much tightly coupled that there is a strong interdependency. If one of the components is failed, other components would also be failed. Okay. And the idea or the solution for this is to enable loose coupling or decouple your application. Okay. So there is an option called decouple component by isolating them and ensure that individual component can function when other component failed. Okay. So we have to basically talk about which cloud design principle should be applied to address the current weakness, means what we should apply to address the weakness. So this would be the correct answer. Okay. You can see, you can read the other options too. A was saying implement elasticity, which enables this application to scale up or down as demand changes. So it is something related to the automatic scaling. In the question, it's not asking about automatic scaling. Okay. Enable several EC2 instances to run in parallel to achieve better performance. Again, it's not talking about like performance. It's talking about we have to deal with the situation that if one of the component could be failed, other component should not be impacted. Okay. Option C, decouple component by isolating them and ensuring that individual component can function when other component fail. This is the correct one. Double EC2 computing resources to increase system fault tolerance. Again, this is not a correct answer. Okay. Which service is used to pay AWS bills and monitor usage and budget cost? Okay. It's talking about service which is used to pay bills. Let's remove the incorrect one. CloudWatch, it's a monitoring service. QuickSight is a visualization service. Amazon QuickSight is a visualization service. If you talk about consolidated billing, it's a feature of AWS organization. So what is left? Billing and cost management. And billing and cost management is a dashboard from where you can pay the bills and you can monitor usage and budget cost. Okay. So it is a correct one. Okay. I can quickly scroll down to the other options too. Okay. Which service supports encryption by default? It's asking about which service supports encryption by default. Okay. We have four options: Redshift, RDS, S3 Glacier, and EFS. So when we talk about S3 Glacier, it supports encryption by default. We again know encryption is a cryptography mechanism. So if I'll say confirm, I can see this is the correct answer. You can read Redshift is not true because it does not enable encryption by default. It is an option, but the user must select it. So in Redshift, which is a data warehousing service, encryption is optional. Okay. RDS, it does not enable encryption by default. Again, it is an option, but the user must select it. For S3 Glacier, it enables encryption by default. You know, S3 Glacier is one of the storage class of the S3. Okay. And when it comes to EFS, which is a file system, it does not enable encryption by default again. Okay. It supports two forms of the encryption for the file system: encryption of data in transit and encryption at rest. Okay. But that need to be managed by you. Okay. So C is a correct answer for this possible question, which is Amazon S3 Glacier. Which service or tools reduces latency for static websites running on AWS? It is a very straightforward question when it's talking about static websites. So we know that for hosting static website, Amazon S3 is the solution. And if we are talking about reducing the latency, we can make use of CloudFront, which is a content delivery network service. Okay. So CloudFront is correct. The first option was Lambda, which is not correct. B is CloudFront, which is correct. You can see it's a content delivery network with edge locations around the globe. S3 transfer acceleration, again, it is not correct. And data pipeline, it's not correct option. Okay. Which of the following cloud services can be used to run a customer managed relational database? Okay. Now, when the relational database is in picture, again, start removing the incorrect answers and then relate that with the question. DynamoDB, it is suitable for non-relational databases, so it will not be the answer. Amazon Elastic Cache, it is an in-memory data store. Route 53, it is a DNS service, but is left EC2. And now read the questions talking about which service can be used to run customer managed relational database. Means you have to run a relational database which will be managed by customer. Okay, so you can run that on EC2 instance. Okay, great. Which of the following are characteristics of Amazon S3? When we talk about S3, like S3 is something that is related to the object storage. So remove other options. Global file system, no, S3 does not follow the file-like hierarchical structure. It's not true. A local file store, again not true. Network file system, again not true. What is left? An object store and a durable storage system. Okay. So you must have seen that S3 provides 11 nines of durability, and durability is something that is related to the data loss. There are very less chances of data loss in S3. Okay. So correct options are B and E, which is an object store and a durable storage system. Which AWS characteristics makes AWS cost effective for a workload with cost dynamic user demand? Okay. It's talking about like which characteristics makes AWS cost effective for a workload with cost dynamic user demand. It means it's talking about dynamic user demand. Okay. Pay as you go pricing. You don't need to just invest capital in advance if you are not sure about the consistency of a business application. Okay. High availability, it's not related to the cost effective option. Okay. Shared security model, it is something related to security. Reliability, it is something related to like basically coming up and running. Okay. When the disruption would be there. So we have another option left, which is elasticity, which is related to the automatic scale up and down. And elasticity is something, a word related to dynamic. Okay. Because when we are saying automatic scale up and down based on change in demand. Okay. So these are the correct choices. Okay. I can scroll the options very quickly. High availability is not true. Shared security model is not true. Elasticity is correct. Pay as you go pricing is correct. Reliability is not correct. Which AWS service helps user meet contractual and regulatory compliance requirement for data security by using dedicated hardware security plan? So something is related to security. Okay. So here it is majorly talking about the hardware appliances, dedicated hardware appliances. And if you talk about Cloud HSM is hardware security module. Again, it is one of the encryption service which is used to provide you encryption. Okay. As it is talking about hardware, so hardware is a keyword which is here. So I will choose Cloud HSM. Okay. You can read about other options. Secret Manager, like using Secret Manager, you can rotate, manage, and retrieve database credentials. Okay, you have used Secret Manager in one of your RDS lab. Cloud HSM, it is a hardware security module. It basically helps you comply with corporate, contractual, and regulatory compliance requirements for data security by using a dedicated hardware. KMS, it is a key management service. It is used for the encryption, okay, but it does not provide a dedicated hardware appliances. And directory service is the Active Directory service, okay. Active Directory means it is basically holding the user identities, okay. So we have the correct option as Cloud HSM. A characteristics of edge location, okay. When we talk about edge location, so host EC2 instances closer to users, help lower latency and improve performance for users, cache frequently changing data without reaching the origin server, and refresh data changes locally. Okay. The major goal of edge location is to help lowering the latency and improve performance for the users. Okay. Because what edge location is doing, edge location is basically delivering the content from the locations closer to the user. Okay. When it's talking about caching, if it was using Amazon CloudFront with the edge location, then that could be the answer. Okay. So A is not correct, hosting EC2 instances closer to the user. B is correct, help lower latency and improve performance for users. C is not correct, cache frequently changing data without reaching origin server. And D is not correct, refresh data changes daily. Okay. A cloud practitioner is developing a disaster recovery plan and intends to replicate data between multiple geographic areas. When it is talking about geographic areas, means something related to geographical location. And when it comes to geographical location, straightforward answer would be AWS region. So for this particular question, the answer would be AWS region. And as it's talking about the multiple geographic areas. So keyword which I have extracted, that is multiple geographic areas. Okay. It is correct. So AWS account is not correct. AWS regions is correct. Availability zone is not correct. Edge locations is not correct. Okay. Under the AWS shared responsibility model, which of the following activities are customer responsibility? Okay. Patching operating system component for RDS. Let's read other options too. Encrypting data on the client side. Yes, when it talks about client side encryption, that would be customer responsibility. Training the data center staff, no, it's not a responsibility of customer, because when it's talking about data center, we don't have the access to the data center. Okay. Configuring network access control list, that is the responsibility of customer. Maintaining environmental control within a data center, again, that is a responsibility of AWS. If you talk about first option, which is patching operating system component for RDS, again, it's the responsibility of AWS, because RDS is a managed database service. Okay. So you can see B and D are correct choices. Means encrypting the data on the client side, that is one thing. And configuring network access control list. Okay. Which pillar of the AWS well-architected framework has a design principle perform operations as code? It is a straightforward. It's talking about perform operations as code, which is the feature of operational excellence. Okay. So operational excellence is a correct answer here. How does AWS charge for the Lambda uses once the free tier has been exceeded? So when it comes to Lambda, we know it is an event-driven serverless compute service. Okay. So in Lambda, like you would be charged by the number of requests made for a given Lambda function. That would be the one thing. You will also be charged by the time it takes for the Lambda functions to run. You will not be charged for the number of versions for a specific Lambda function. You will not be charged for the programming language you are using for the Lambda function. And again, by the total number of Lambda function in an AWS account, that is not a deciding factor for the cost. Okay. The deciding factor is for how long you are calling your Lambda function and by the number of requests that you are making for a given Lambda function. Okay. And these are the correct answers. By the time it takes for the Lambda function to run, by the number of requests made for a given Lambda function. Okay. Which service enables customer to audit and monitor changes in the AWS resources? It's talking about auditing and monitoring. Okay. When it comes to auditing and monitoring changes, you know that AWS config is a service which tracks the configuration changes in the AWS resources. And this is the correct answer. Okay. A company must meet compliance and software licensing requirement that state a workload must be hosted on a physical server. Which EC2 instance pricing option will meet this requirement? Whenever it comes to software licensing requirement, you know that the straightforward answer is dedicated host. Okay. Or you can again recall the concepts, revise the concept by the description I had given to you, like for the hotel booking example. Okay. So dedicated host would be the correct choice. Okay. Other options, let's say dedicated instances, spot instances, and reserved instances, these are not correct for this situation. Which service can be used to provide network connectivity between on-premises network and a VPC? So it's talking about a hybrid on-premises and a VPC. So we know direct connect is one of them, VPN is one of them. Route 53 is a DNS service. It's not true. Okay. If you talk about connect is a customer data center service. If you have to create a customer data center, you can use connect. Okay. If you want to check for the data pipeline, you can simply search for data pipeline here. And you can see it's a web service that helps you reliably process and move data between different compute and storage services as well as on-premises. But here I want to build the network connectivity between on-premises and AWS. Okay, VPC in AWS. So direct connect and virtual private network would be the two choices. Okay. Which architecture design principle applies to the concept of right sizing the AWS cloud infrastructure? Right sizing means making best utilization of your resources. Okay. When you're making best utilization of your resources means it is something related to cost optimization. Okay. Because when you will make better utilization of your resources, you're optimizing the cost. So scale horizontally for increased workload availability. That's not something related to right sizing. Okay. Optimize for cost is correct. Make frequent small reversible changes. Again, that is one of the operational excellence pillar feature. Perform operations as code. Again, it is something related to operational excellence. Okay. What is the responsibility of AWS in the shared responsibility model? Let's remove the incorrect first. Patching OS running on EC2 instances, it's customer responsibility. It's talking about a guest operating system. Okay. Updating network ACL to block traffic to vulnerable ports. Again, that is a customer responsibility. Updating security group rules to block traffic to the vulnerable port. Again, that is a customer responsibility. What is left? Updating the firmware on the underlying EC2 host. Okay. So that is the AWS responsibility. Okay. You can see here, this is the correct answer. Okay. If you want to see what is firmware, you can simply search here. Okay. You can see it is programmed to give permanent instruction to communicate with other devices and perform function like basic input output tasks, just for your knowledge. Okay. Which dashboard displays relevant and timely information to help user manage event in progress and provides proactive notification to help plan for scheduled activities. Okay. Whenever it comes to dashboard in the AWS, specific to your AWS account, so that if there would be some activities planned or if there would be some events planned, you can manage your resources accordingly. The choice would be the personal health dashboard. Okay. The service health dashboard is giving you a generic view. Okay. But when it is specific to your account, you should go for the personal health dashboard. An application designed to span multiple availability zone is described as being highly available. Okay. Global reach would be there when you're deploying that in multiple regions. Using an economy of scale is not correct here. Having elasticity is not correct. Elasticity is something related to automatic scaling. Okay. So this is a correct one. Which term length are available when a company purchases EC2 reserved instances directly from AWS? So when it comes to EC2, one EC2 reserved instances, like 1 year or 3 year of contract length would be required. So I'm choosing 1 year and 3 years. What are the other options? Other options are 6 months, 4 years, and you have 5 years. So 1 year and 3 years is a choice. A company is developing a new application that will be hosted in the AWS cloud. The company needs to make changes to the application and the AWS resources that it uses. Okay. Which of the following is a characteristic of the AWS cloud that would meet the specific requirement? It's talking about it needed to make the changes to the application and the AWS resources as it uses. Okay. A company is developing a new application that will be hosted in the AWS cloud. The company needs to make the changes to the application and the resources that it uses. Okay. So it's talking something about like they have to make the changes to the application and the resources that it uses. Okay. Which of the following is a characteristic of the cloud that would meet this specific requirement? Reliability will not be there. Performance would not be there. What is left in front of you? Elasticity and agility. Okay. Elasticity is basically talks about making the changes as per the demand what change. And agility is making the best use of your skill set. Okay. So what do you think? What would be the correct answer? Okay. Should I choose agility? Should I choose elasticity? Let's see. Agility is the correct answer. Why? It's not talking about anywhere in the question that you have to basically scale out or scale in, or you have to meet the change in unpredictable demand. Okay, it's talking about when you're hosting in the AWS cloud, you want to make the changes to the application and resources that you use. Means you don't want to worry about the underlying infrastructure in which your application is running, like specifically with respect to provisioning the infrastructure. You're outsourcing that part to the AWS. Okay, so this would be the correct answer. Okay. Agility. The pay-as-you-go pricing model for AWS services reduces capital expenditure, require payment upfront for the AWS resources. Okay, is relevant only for EC2, S3, and RDS. Reduces operational expenditures. Okay, so when we talk about pay-as-you-go means like as you are using, you are paying for that. So it will reduce the capital expenditures. Okay, because you are not investing any capital here. You are only paying as per your uses. Okay. So B, which is saying require payment upfront for AWS services, is not correct. Is relevant only for EC2, S3, and RDS, is not correct, and reduces operational expenditure. Again, that is not correct. What's the correct one? The correct one is reduces capital expenditure. Which service will help users determine if an application running on EC2 instance has sufficient CPU capacity? Okay, so it's talking about measuring the CPU capacity, means it is something talking about measuring the metrics. And when it comes to metrics, you know, Amazon Cloud Watch would be the choice. It is a monitoring service which is used to monitor AWS resources in real time. Okay, and Cloud Watch would be the correct answer. Config is not correct. CloudTrail is not correct, and Inspector is not correct. Okay, CloudWatch is a correct choice. A company has deployed several relational database on EC2 instances. Every month, the database software vendor releases new security patches that need to be applied to the database. What is the most efficient way to apply the security patches? So here it is talking about the management, like infrastructure management, applying the security patches. Okay. And whenever it comes to infrastructure management and it is talking about like cost efficient way, so just use your brain to just relate the things with the system manager. Like in my previous discussion, I was talking about system manager. So system manager you can use in order to automate the patches according to a schedule. Okay. I will use system manager. Config is not correct. It is used for monitoring the configuration changes. Enable automatic pair patching for the instances by using the RDS console. We don't have an option available there. Connect to each database instance on a monthly basis and download and apply the necessary security patches from the vendor. It is a time-consuming task. Okay. When it talks about efficient means something that is related to you have to save time. You have to go for the automation. Okay, so D would be the correct choice. Which service primary purpose is a software version control? You are very well aware about it. Like when you are talking about a developer tools, you know that when it is something related to software version control, when it is something related to basically you're looking for centralized repository, okay, for maintaining different versions of the code commit would be the answer. Okay. So AWS CodeStar is incorrect here. Amazon Cognito is not correct. Code commit is a correct answer. It's a fully managed source control service that hosts private Git repositories. Okay. And CLI is again not correct. It's a command line interface. A company wants to deploy a stateless application where occasional downtime is acceptable. What is the most affordable EC2 pricing option available for the use case? It's talking about application where downtime is acceptable. And whenever this thing comes into picture, interruption can be expected. You know what is a choice. And it's also asking about the most affordable EC2 pricing option, means it is concerned with respect to the cost. So spot instances would be the correct answer. Okay. A user needs to automatically discover, classify, and protect sensitive data stored in S3. Which service can meet this requirement? Again, you are aware about it. It's Amazon Messy. Okay. Amazon Messy is used to basically classify, discover the PII, personal identifiable information. Okay. Protective sensitive data. Okay. So Messy is a correct choice here. You can see it is an automated security assessment service that helps improve the security and compliance of application deployed on AWS. Okay, so you can learn in this way if something is related to S3 and it's talking about automatically discover, classify, and protective sensitive data, Messy would be the answer. Okay. Which of the following are pillars of well-architected framework? You have to select two. So multiple availability zone is not a pillar. Performance efficiency is one. Security is one. Encryption uses is not the well-architected pillar. And again, high availability is also not a pillar. Okay. So performance efficiency and security are the correct choice from all these options. Okay. Which managed service can store common database query result to elevate database query load? Okay, now it's talking about something you want to offload the burden on the database. So remember our discussion, something related to in-memory data store. And when it comes to in-memory data store, you know Elastic Cache is a choice. So machine image is not a choice here. SQS is not a choice here. It is a Decoupled service, which is used for basically retaining the messages, or it follows a pull-based mechanism for SQS. EC2 instance store is not a choice. It is basically ephemeral storage. Elastic cache would be the choice. It is an in-memory data store. Okay. Which of the following can a company do by using AWS billing and cost management tools? Okay. Terminate all resources automatically if the budget threshold are exceeded. Not to break down AWS cost by day, service, and the linked AWS account. First of all, let me read other options and then we'll decide. Create budget and receive notifications if the current uses for forecasted users exceed those budget. This is true. We can create budgets. Switch to reserved instances or spot instances automatically based on which instance is the most cost effective. Move data that is stored in S3 to a more cost effective storage class. It's talking about what you can do by using billing and billing and cost management tools. Okay. Budget creation is one of them. And then you can break down the cost by day, service, and linked account. This is a feature of Cost Explorer. Okay. So these are the two correct choices. Okay. B and C. All other options are not correct. A is not correct. B is a correct choice. C is a correct choice. D is not correct. And E is not correct. A user needs to launch a workload in multiple AWS environment. Each copy of the workload must have the same configuration. What is the most operationally efficient way to accomplish this task? It's talking about launching a workload, means something is related to provisioning the infrastructure. And when they have the same configuration, means you want to provision your infrastructure in a repeatable way. Okay. So best example, you know that use a cloud formation, which is an infrastructure as a code service. So use AWS Cloud Formation to launch a stack. Okay. This is correct. A company is planning to launch an e-commerce site in a single AWS region to a worldwide user base. This service will allow the company to reach users and provide low latency and high transfer speed. You have to select two options. Okay. It's talking about global world reach or worldwide something. Okay. And when it talks about global reach or worldwide, when it's talking about providing low latency and high transfer speed, we know global accelerator is one. And CloudFront we can use in order to reduce the latency. So low latency, CloudFront we have chosen. High transfer speed, global accelerator we have chosen. Direct Connect is not a choice because it is used for establishing the connection between on-premises and AWS. Lambda is not a choice. It's a serverless event-driven compute service. And application load balancer is used to distribute the load to the backend target. So global accelerator and CloudFront would be the more appropriate options. Okay. And it's correct. Okay. With service or feature help link a company AWS environment directly to the company's internal network without using the internet. Okay, now it's talking about you don't want to use the internet. Okay, so it is again talking about a hybrid connectivity between the internal network to the AWS environment. Peering will not be there because VPC peering is used to establish peering connection between two VPCs. Okay. Connect is a customer data center service. Egress only internet gateway. Again, that is not related to the question mentioned. And in the question, it's simply talking about without using the internet. So remove it. What is left? Direct. Okay. You can read about egress internet gateway from here. It is a internet gateway in a VPC that allows outbound communication only over IPv6. Let's say like if you are using the IPv6, okay. Like Internet Protocol version 6, and you're only looking for outbound connection, no inbound connection, will use egress. Egress means external, or you can say that outbound. Okay. No ingress, only egress. Okay. No inbound, only outbound. A company plans to migrate an application workload to the cloud. Which control is the responsibility of AWS after the migration is complete? Okay. So it is again a straightforward question. Like in all the options, you can see that there's something related to physical and environmental control. So physical and environmental control will be the responsibility of AWS. You can read the other options too. Patch the guest operating system. It's the responsibility of customer. Specifically, you are using EC tools. Identify and protect PII. Okay. Patch customer owned application and customer created application. Okay. It can be the responsibility of AWS as well as customer based on the service you are choosing. Okay. Patch customer owned application and customer created applications. Okay. So the left option, which is left which is most suitable as per the question requirement, that is maintain physical and environmental control. Okay. Which of the following allows an application running on EC2 instance to securely write data to S3 bucket without losing long term? So it's talking about secure way, and you want to establish the interaction between EC2 and S3. You know, IAM role is the best possible choice. Okay. So Cognito is not correct. Shield is not correct. The role is correct. User access keys is not correct. Which of the following AWS feature enable a user to launch a pre-configured Elastic Compute Cloud instance? Okay, pre-configured. When it's talking about pre-configured EC2 instance, you know, you can make use of AMI, Amazon Machine Image. What is that? It's a template which is used in order to provide a basic configurations required to launch EC2 instance. And you know what you can do? Let's say today I have created one EC2 instance. Okay, I have installed some softwares on it. And now I want to have the EC2 other EC2 instances to be launched with a similar configuration. I can create an image, a custom image, okay, from my running EC2 instance. I can wait till the image will be available, and then I can launch another EC2 instances from that particular custom image. This you have done in your auto scaling lab, okay? During a compliance review, one of the auditor requires a copy of the AWS SOC2 report. Which service should you use to submit this request? This is straightforward. Whenever you're looking for compliance report, compliance document access, artifact is an answer. Okay. So AWS personal health is not correct here. Trusted advisor is not correct. Artifact is correct here. S3 is not correct. Which service allow user to provision infrastructure as a code? Infrastructure as a code, straightforward. Cloud formation, it's an infrastructure as a code service. Okay. Which service allow customer to purchase unused EC2 capacity at an often discounted rate? Unused EC2 capacity means spot instances. Okay. And now it's talking about unused, it will be spot instances. Okay. Which of the following allow AWS users to manage cost allocation for billing? Whenever it talks about managing the cost allocation, the best way is tag your resources. If you will be tagging your resources, you will be able to apply filters. Okay. So tagging resources would be the answer. Limiting who can create resources is not correct choice. Adding a secondary payment method, again, it's not something related to manage cost allocation. Running all operations on a single AWS account, not required or not a part of this scenario. So tagging resources is correct. Users can tag resources which can be used to allocate cost. Okay. You can read other options. This solution does not provide granularity of cost breakdown such as environment, business unit, company, and customer. Means we are talking about filters. And when it is something related to filter, you know, tagging is a strategy which is used to manage, to make search, and to filter your AWS resources easily. Okay. Which service provide a quick and automated way to create and manage AWS account? Okay, it's talking about managing AWS accounts, multiple account it is talking about. Simple answer is AWS organization. It is used to basically manage the multi-account architecture. Okay. What can be used to reduce the cost of running EC2 instances? Okay. If you have to reduce the cost of running EC2 instances, what you can do? Spot instances for stateless and flexible workload. If you have the flexible workload, you can choose a spot instances. Memory optimized instances for high compute workload is nothing to do with reducing the cost. Okay, this is specific to a use case. You are choosing an instance type. On-demand instances for high cost and sustained workload. It is saying high cost, and here we are talking about reducing the cost. Reserved instances for sustained workload, that is true. If we have a sustained workload, we can make use of reserved instances and spend limit sets using AWS budget. That's not true. Okay. So it's talking about what are the pricing strategies you can follow. If you know that you have a flexible workload, you can go for the spot instances. If you know you have a sustained workload, you can go for the reserved instances. Last question. A user deploys RDS DB instance in multiple availability zones. The strategy involves which pillar of the well-architected framework? When multiple availability zone means it can come out of disruption, and coming out of disruption is straightforward reliability. Okay. So this is a correct answer. Performance efficiency is not correct. Reliability is not correct. Cost optimization, reliability is correct here. Okay. Cost optimization is not correct and security is not correct. Okay. So with your grace, I have completed all 65 questions. And if I'll say continue, if I'll just provide acknowledgement, if I'll say submit answers, let's see what's the result. Okay. Let me just check domain scores. Let's wait. Okay, this is my domain scores. Okay. So see, all the questions are correct. So what's the idea of this particular video? The idea was to show you what type of questions you are going to get in your examination and how much prepared you are. So you are already prepared for most of the things. Only you have to revise the concept. Only you have to practice your existing concepts only. Okay. So I am planning to record more such videos. I'm planning to record like 2 to 3 more such videos because I will attempt few more official practice tests in front of you. Okay. So just watch this video. I will strongly recommend you all to watch this video to basically revise all the questions which I have shown you here, to understand how I was choosing the correct answers. Okay. To understand the keywords I was talking about, to understand the pointers I was highlighting. Okay. So this was the overall goal for this recording. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day and take care. Bye-bye.